What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome to the next video in the Let's Grow to Lunch series of videos where I share information about authentic dialogue. I give you little nuggets about authentic dialogue for you to chew on to help you create thriving relationships. And ultimately, all these different things I've been sharing with you all for the last few weeks, it's all about getting to solutions, right? It's all about getting to a position where you can make decisions and agreements with the people you're in a relationship with in ways that everyone can feel good about, and creating win-wins. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't know that it's, there's a way to create win-wins, and there's a way to create solutions that literally everyone can feel like their voice is heard, feel like they were involved in the decision, and actually come up with something that they actually agree to. It's actually possible. It really is possible, through practicing the things that I've been sharing. So I want to give you an example today, and I want to talk about how to create those win-win solutions. So when done right, when authentic dialogue is done right, you literally create agreements and create, depending on the conflict, the disagreement, or the decision that needs to be made. When done right, you create something new. Like, you're always creating something new. You're always co-creating something new with someone, or whether it be someone or whether it be a group of people, you're creating something new because each of us have in our minds an answer to a problem. But the power about authentic dialogue is that it's not just going to be the answer that one person decides. It's going to be something that everyone co-creates, something that everyone takes ownership in, and something that everyone nurtures. And also understanding that when you make decisions and agreements within the context of authentic dialogue, it's something that you can constantly check in on, mold, improve, and it's never just set in stone. It could be a decision. Most of the time, depend on the context, depending on what it is. A lot of times it's something that you can come back to once you try it out and tweak it, etc. So I'll talk more about that process in another video. But let's just get to the solutions part. What I'm going to do is just give you an example, actually something that I went through with my children recently. And yes, I do this with my children. And yes, I believe it's important to communicate with my children in a way that will help them, grow up to be able to communicate effectively and in healthy ways. And I believe that, as their parent, I'm the first person, I'm one of the first people as one of their parents that's going to kind of set their compass in terms of how they communicate and how they expect to be communicated with. So by me communicating with them equitably, it's going to help them learn to grow up and live in a world and create an environment around themselves where they expect to be treated equity no matter the context, because their dad treated them equitably and their dad respected them. And so they give me respect, and we operate from a position of mutual respect. So recently, this actually happened really recently. We were driving along in my SUV, and my son was listening to music on his tablet, but he didn't have his headphones, so it was out loud. My daughter wanted to listen to something, and she asked me to play something through the vehicle system. And so now I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense because he's listening to his music and this is going to be up loud and ill. And she also asked him, she said, Scotty, can you turn that down because we're about to listen to music? And I'm like, well, that's not fair. And of course he said that's not fair too. So I'm like, okay, well, how can we come up with something that we all can agree to? So we went through the process. So we actually, let me say this. I could have made a decision. I could have pulled rank. I could have did the dad thing, the conventional thing that initially jumps in my head just based on my conditioning, which is I'll make the choice. Let's squash this. I'll make the choice and both of you just deal with it. But I got to practice what I teach, right? So what I did was, I asked what their needs were. It's a chance for us to practice. I said, so what's your needs, Scotty? What do you need? What do you want? And, and it may be obvious, but I wanted to go through the process. So, he said, and we speak in rounds. We take our turns to talk about what do we need? What do we want? And so I let my son go first. And I said, what do you need? What do you want? And he's 7. His thing was like, I don't know. So I kind of helped him along. And I said, you want to listen to your music, right? Or you want to listen to music during a car ride? And he was like, yeah. And I asked my daughter, what does she want? And well, he wanted to listen to what he was listening to, Ninjago, the soundtrack, right? So my daughter, she wanted to listen to something different that she liked. And so I asked her, what do you need? What do you want, Skylar? So she's 11. She articulated it, clearly that, I want to listen to some music during this ride, so I can, have something to do, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay. And then I shared what I wanted. I said, you know what, for me, I'm okay with quiet. I don't have to listen to music, but I'm indifferent. I don't mind listening to music as well. So we all kind of just stated what our wants or our needs were. What this does is it gave everyone a chance to be heard. It gave everyone a chance to feel like their voice matters within whatever decision we're going to make. That is so important when you're trying to create healthy relationships. When people feel heard, they're much more willing to compromise. They're much more willing to be flexible because they feel heard, they feel respected. So by speaking in rounds, taking turns, not cutting each other off, listening to one another to truly understand their needs, that's what you're creating. So after we did that, I said, okay, well, what's your proposal? What's a proposal that we all can agree to? And we took turns giving proposals. So once again, I asked my son, like, Scotty, do you have a proposal? Initially, he said, I don't know. I asked my daughter, Skylar, what's your proposal? And I said, again, thinking about everyone that's involved based on the needs that we all have, what's something that you propose? So my daughter said, I propose, Daddy, that you put on something and you choose what it is, but you play it through the vehicle sound system. So that way we all want to listen to music and you don't care. So that's the solution. You choose the song, so that I don't have to choose something that Scotty doesn't want to listen to. He doesn't have to choose something that, I don't want to listen to. If you choose something, you usually choose songs that we like, that are okay, that we like, or you usually introduce us to something new that we end up liking. That was like her stance. So then I went, and then my son said, I said, Scotty, do you have a proposal? He didn't initially pick up on like how to do that. Initially, his answers were more so about things that he wanted to listen to. So then I had to further explain to him that, Scotty, think about something that is agreeable for everyone, that everyone can agree to, that everyone can tolerate. So I said, okay, so we all have the things that we want, right? Everyone has something that they want, but then right below that is a let's call it a tolerance zone. So we all have what we want, and then we have a zone of tolerance. And oftentimes in any disagreement, in any conflict, where you'll find common ground is within that realm or that zone of tolerance, something that everyone can tolerate. So I said to him, I said, would you be able to tolerate, me choosing something based on what's on my playlist and things like that? And ultimately he said yes. So we were able to, come to an agreement where it was something that we all could tolerate. It wasn't our number one choice, but it was something that we all could tolerate. And no one felt oppressed by any of those decisions. No one felt like they were being, disregarded by any of the decision that was made. And it was ultimately something that we all could agree to and feel good about. So that's an example of how, we implement dialogue and working towards win-wins within our family dynamic. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please ask. I know for some people, well, you know what? I'm not even going to speak to, some people who don't even give their children, chances to do those type of things. But, this is how I do things. This is how I choose to raise my children as we evolve and try to, be the change that we want to see in the world. So with that being said, until the next video, if this made sense, if it resonated in any way, please share it. Leave me a comment, leave me a question. And until next time, love y'all. Peace.